Hello, hello. I just jumped in really quick. I know that normally I do my uh, lives later in the week, and I wanted to jump on today because I had some um, sorry, I'm distracted by the all the notifications coming up on my screen. I had a couple meetings that came up unexpectedly for Thursday and Friday. So I wanted to jump on here and do this now. And I thank you for joining me at such last minute notice. You can see I'm not wearing any makeup. My hair is not, I'm having a bad hair day today. But I really wanted to go over this because I think it's something that's really important. If you're on my email list, if you're one of my subscribers, you've already gotten an invitation from me to be part of a new beta project that I am doing. And this project is helping people one-on-one build a digital product. It's called the Digital Product Power Hour. It's a one-on-one call with me where we build out your digital product. We get the template ready. If you depending on how much you already have done, like how many videos you have recorded, how much you've already written of an ebook, we can get that done right away. I may have to just show you how to pour your text and everything into your template if you're not ready yet. But we'll get your template done. We'll get it designed so you're not procrastinating, you're not feeling overwhelmed. And then I'll show you how to convert it and download it and list it for sale on your platform of choice. So, who has been wanting to have a digital product and you've been putting it off for some reason, like you're overwhelmed by the tech, you're burnt out trying to learn all these things, you don't know where to start. So just put in the chat if that's you. Yes, burnt out, tech, yeah, tech overwhelm. Okay. This is something that people have been coming to me a lot with in DMs, email replies, something I'm hearing a whole lot. You've seen people making money from digital products. You know that you can be making money. You know you can add this income stream that is, I won't say passive because you have to create the product, you have to market it, you have to keep up with your delivery system, but let's say residual income. Once you create it, then you've got income that's coming in pretty consistently without you having to mess with it every day. So it's pretty much as close to passive income as you're going to get. And this can be something you add to any kind of business, a service business, a product business, a brick and mortar business, and just to add a little bit easier money coming in. However, before you sign up to work with me to do this, because I only have a couple spots that I've opened up, I think it's really important to talk about why offers sell and why they don't sell. And get you clear on validating your offer before you put a lot of time into it. And that comes with a little bit of a caveat because when you're new, you are going to have offers that you have to try and a lot of them are going to fail. It's a it's a process to find what your people are looking for. And when you're new and you don't have that feedback from your audience yet, it can be difficult to pinpoint exactly what they want. So who here has heard the story of the closet, the trash bag full of dolls in the closet? Has anybody here not heard that story? Just type no if you haven't heard that story in the chat, because I don't want to tell it again if everybody's heard it. Okay, a couple of you have not heard it. All right. So very quickly, when I started my business, I was freelancing, doing illustration and graphic design, which was my day job. So I was just freelancing at night. But I also was selling on eBay. And when I started to sell on eBay, my goal was to sell art. I am a museum exhibited fine artist. I'm a critically acclaimed fine artist. However, my art wasn't selling. Nobody was interested in it. My name on eBay is AB Art to this day because that's how I started out, thinking I was going to sell art. I decided that's what I wanted to do. I decided that's what I was going to sell. And guess what? The audience decided that's not what they wanted. So I think there's a danger, and I see this a lot of people who say, I want to do this thing, I want to sell this thing because that's what I like, that's what I want to do, that's what I enjoy doing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to have a way to figure out how to sell the thing you like to do in the way that someone's going to buy it. So for me, this happened when I was helping my grandparents clean out their closet, and we found a garbage bag with my mother's dolls from the 50s in it, and they were broken. And I decided I was going to fix her dolls for her. Dolls were very important to my mother. When she was growing up, she would only get one present at Christmas time. And she usually wanted a doll. And one year she had to get a bathrobe instead because she needed a bathrobe. Like they didn't have the money for her to have needs and wants. She would get one thing. So the dolls that she did have were very, very important to her. So I thought that would be a great gift for her. I would fix these things up for her and give them to her. And I needed some parts, and these are dolls from the 50s. So these weren't things I could just go out and get. I had to get on eBay, and I needed half of a leg for this little doll, and I needed eyes. So I was bidding on these dolls that were broken, completely broken, but had the parts that my mother's doll needed. And I kept getting outbid. I couldn't believe what these broken dolls were selling for. They were selling for more than anything I'd ever sold on eBay. And that was a light bulb moment for me because I realized, oh, this is something people want. This is something people want to buy. And I looked into what dolls from the 50s were worth if they were not broken, and they were worth a lot. So I taught myself to fix dolls, and I started to buy big boxes of dolls like at garage sales and things and sell them. I'd fix them up and I would sell them one at a time. And they were selling. That was a great business. It was limiting because each doll I was having to fix one at a time. By this, I was a mother. I had young children at this point. I was running a business, the freelance business, as well as at that time I was selling natural beauty products for it was a network marketing company. So I had that business that I was running. And so this doll business was good, but it was slow. And I started to write a blog about the dolls, like just what I did. Fixing the dolls, like I would do like before and after photo of the doll, and I would link to the listing on eBay. At that time, I only had one store. I had my eBay store. And at first, I was the only person checking my blog. Like I would look at my stats every day, but all the views would be me checking to see if anybody had viewed, and then like some spammers, trying to sell me SEO, packages and stuff. But really, after a couple months, I started to get some actual people reading my blog, and they started to comment. And also my eBay buyers were commenting. And they would say, the first thing I got was, can I send my doll to you for you to fix it? And I said yes. And soon I had people from all over the world sending their dolls to me to fix. And that was the birth of my doll hospital, my service business. Well, then people started to ask, how exactly do you fix these dolls? I see your before and after. I want to know more about how, like what the process was. So I started to sell information. And this was something that was crucial. It took me such a long time to realize that the information in my head was so much more valuable than any physical product I could ever sell. So that's something I want you to really get hold of right now before you go years into your business. Because I mean, I used to let people drive across the country and come to my house and I would fix their dolls with them for free because it just wasn't like, it didn't occur to me that people would pay for this knowledge. So finding out that people would pay for the knowledge was a huge epiphany for me. And I started to sell tutorials for doll repair. Eventually, I wrote a couple books. And at first, these were just like photocopies that I would print out and I would mail off to people. But now, after I learned how to do it, I created digital versions that when they sell, they're instantly delivered and I don't have to do anything after the sale. And so that was a huge breakthrough for me because I realized, oh, I could be making money from this thing that I wrote once. I can make money again and again without having to do more. So it opened up a whole new like possibility for me to make money to scale because I couldn't scale when I was doing everything with my own two hands. Well, then after getting the tutorials, people started to say, well, where would I get these supplies? Like, where are you finding these supplies? So then I started to sell the supplies and I started to sell kits with the supplies and the instructions together. And so you can see each offer that scaled my business was based on feedback from my audience. And that is how I knew, like at every step of the whole doll business, the offer was validated before I created it, right? I could see other people selling it with success. I had people asking for it. And so then when I created the offers, I knew that they would sell because they were meeting a need that people had actually asked me for. And so I think that's a crucial thing you have to learn. I went from being a fine artist to being a doll artist. Wasn't what I ever envisioned, but that's the way it went because that's what my audience wanted. And that's why I have been able to successfully sell these things. So when you're thinking about what you're going to sell, I want you to really tune into what people are asking you for. And this is why it's so crucial to get your long form content platform set up and to get your email set up. And you have to have a way for people to communicate with you. You have to be building an audience and have communication with your audience so that you know what they need. And then you know that they'll buy what you have. And I have so many people who will say, well, I've had this Etsy store for this many months and I haven't had any sales. And I always say, well, do you have an email list? Do you have long form content? And the answer is always no, they don't. And so, you're really trying to jump over a hurdle when you're just guessing about what people want. Or maybe you did see that other people were selling something successfully. So that is a form of validation, but you've made that uniquely your own. And when I tell people that, they always come back and say, well, or two things. A, no one ever asks me how to do anything. Or B, um, I don't know what I would talk about. So today I want to go through that a little bit too. When you're building an audience, how do you get people to talk about it? So if no one ever asks you to do anything, do they know the things that you can do? Have you ever posted about it anywhere? Like no one would have known that I could repair dolls if I hadn't started posting dolls that I'd repaired. So if you're good at, let's say you are trying to sell your handmade earrings, are you posting anywhere showing like yourself making these earrings? What you might find is the same thing that I found is people would start to say, oh, how do you make those? And you can show them and they would want to learn themselves. So you might be able to open up a whole side business, not just selling earrings, but selling tutorials on how you make your earrings. Um, a lot of times people will decide something is hard and they would rather buy it from you than do it themselves. That's something that can happen when you start to post about the things that you like to do. So just start your content. Start making this content, showing the things you like and showing your hobby and showing the thing like that think you might be interested in selling. Like you want to make a business out of this hobby that you have. Start just posting about that hobby. And then when people start to interact with you, you'll get a really clear idea of what they want. And like I said, you may have to have some offers that don't sell or don't sell very well at first in order to gauge this. So, you know, you might try something like I was trying to sell art. You might, and it doesn't work. Okay, go back to the drawing board, try it again. Um, Another thing that you can do is ask people in your circle, can I do this for you? Just one or two people. Do something for them for free and get them to write a testimonial about it, get them to post on their social media about it. And then you can create a long form content piece about that. And long form content doesn't just have to be a blog. Remember, you can do lots of different things, but you've got to get that piece in place where you are communicating with your audience, you're interacting with your audience, you're building a relationship with your audience, but most importantly, you're listening to your audience so that you are validating through listening. And when you start listening to your audience, you'll get idea after idea after idea because of what they're asking, and you know that these are going to be successful. So for me, after all of the doll repair, which is still I still run that business day to day, but now I also am a business coach because what people started to say was, well, now I know how to do this doll repair. Um, you know, how do I make it into a business like you did? And so because I'm a top 4% Etsy seller. I'm a top eBay seller. I'm not sure what percent I am on eBay, but I'm a top eBay seller. I've been doing e-commerce now for more than 20 years and actually more than 25 years. So people started to ask me about that. So I never envisioned being a coach, and yet now I'm a coach because of responding to demand from the audience. And so, like one of my clients, her name is Melissa. She learned doll repair from me. She learned one specific repair, stringing dolls, and then she learned other repairs. And she decided she wanted to start her own doll repair business. And she was so successful very early on because she was getting in a lot of different Facebook groups, which groups are a long form of long form content. And she was building relationships in those Facebook groups. And then people were buying her product and hiring her. And then they were referring their friends to her. So very quickly, she had a business that was going gangbusters to the point that she decided that she was going to specialize on only one brand of dolls. And that is all she does. Her whole business is Madame Alexander Doll Repair, just one brand of dolls. She specializes in that, and she has enough volume from that 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 can be her whole business. So that just shows you the importance of relationship building. She was successful almost immediately as soon as she hung out her shingle because people had already been asking her in these groups about these repairs. So she knew it was something people wanted to learn. She knew it was something people wanted to have done for them. And you can do the same thing. So that's just what I wanted to jump in and say today because of the digital product power hour that I'm offering. And if that's something that you're interested in, I will just put in the chat me and I'll send you a link for that. I'll probably put a replay of this up and I'll have that in the description as well, the link. But you know, at the moment, I only have a couple spots open, so this is really just a very limited offer. But I want to make sure that if you take me up on this offer, and even if you don't, I want to make sure that you understand what makes an offer sell and what makes an offer not sell. And what makes an offer not sell is, remember, when you are just focusing on you and what you want instead of listening to your audience and focusing on what they want. And so the first thing you have to do is just start building that audience. And for those of you who say, I don't know what I would talk about, okay, my whole blog at the beginning was like before and afters. Like that was it. I would post pictures of before and afters. I would write about dolls that I'd fixed. I would throw in stuff about like what was happening at with the family, things about my kids, just things that were happening day to day in my life. And so pretty quickly, people came to feel like they really knew me, and I built a lot of trust with them. And a big mistake that I made was that I did not have an email list for years and years and years and years. That is an enormous mistake. Um, get your email list started as soon as you possibly can, because it just gives you more avenues to go deeper with people. A lot of people aren't going to comment publicly about something that they want to know because that's a vulnerable thing. But if you had an email that they could email you, then privately they will contact you about it and ask you about it. So you want to make sure you have an email, even if it's just a Gmail address that you put on your blog that you make, just for your business. Um, just give them a way to talk to you. Start building that list. And of course, when people email you, save their address, put them in a segment, because you want somewhere for them to go deeper with you. You want somewhere for them to ask questions that they might feel too vulnerable asking in public. And that will really help you with your offers. It's really going to help you get your offers to sell. It's a lot more important than the things people think that they need. So people come to me and they think, oops, there go the dogs barking. People think they need SEO, and they think they need um, keyword tags and everything. But what they really need, Luna, sorry about the dog. What they really need is a relationship with the person, so they know before they try to sell something what's actually going to sell. So since it's getting so loud in here and I don't even know if you can hear me over this dog, I'm just going to go ahead and pop off. But I just wanted to hop on here and talk a little bit about that, because that's a really important piece that you need to have in place in order to be able to to be able to be confident that your product's going to sell. And again, if you want to book one of my digital product power hours, which is a focused hour with me where we're going to get your digital product created, and I'm going to show you how to get it listed. If your digital product, like if you have already written your ebook, you've already recorded your course content or audios or whatever, you should be able to have this listed for sale this week. You can get it done in a week. So pop, pop in the chat if you want that, and I'll send you the email about it. And if I do post this on YouTube, it'll be in the description. But just know that I want you to go into this with the strongest possible chance of success. And that is to know what your people want so that you're able to fulfill their needs. So thanks for being here again on such short notice. I'm so sorry. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.